I was face to face with tragedy. Not the kind that announces itself with sirens or telegrams, but the quiet, almost polite kind that waits until you look away and then takes something small yet essential. You were standing across from me, close enough that I could see the tiny crease between your eyebrows when you concentrated. You were smiling, which made the moment unbearable. Tragedy, I learned then, often smiles. You did not know you were about to become memory. I did not know that memory could hurt so much while remaining so gentle. We were young enough to believe that time was generous. You said things like later and someday as if they were objects you could put in your pocket and carry around. I nodded, pretending agreement, while secretly fearing that time was a miser and would charge interest for every borrowed moment. We met during a season that felt unfinished. The days were warm, but the evenings carried a warning chill. I remember thinking that the weather had the manners of someone who wanted to leave but did not yet know how to say goodbye. You wore a pale dress that day, nothing remarkable, except that you wore it. That was enough. You spoke to me as if I were already familiar, as if we had skipped the formalities in some earlier life. It was disarming. I responded carefully, like a man walking across a frozen pond, testing each step. You laughed at my caution. You always laughed when I was afraid. Our love did not arrive with drama. It settled quietly, like dust on furniture you use every day and therefore do not notice until sunlight exposes it. We walked more than we talked. When we talked, we avoided important subjects, sensing instinctively that importance could ruin everything. Instead, we discussed trivial matters with great seriousness, the best bread in the market, the temperament of stray dogs, whether clouds had intentions. Once, we skipped school and took the long road past the railway tracks. You insisted that trains carried secrets better than people. We sat on a low stone wall and counted passing wagons, inventing lives for strangers. You decided that the man in the third carriage was a failed violinist. I said he looked content. You corrected me gently, contentment is usually a disguise. You had a way of stating truths as if they were jokes and jokes as if they were truths. I often went home unsure whether I had been enlightened or teased. We stole apples from a neighbor's tree and ate them behind the shed, juice running down our wrists. You wiped my hand with your handkerchief, annoyed by my carelessness. I kept that handkerchief for years, folded, unwashed, until it finally disintegrated. Even then, I could not throw it away. We learned the geography of each other in fragments. I knew the way your shoulders stiffened when you were offended, the exact pause before you admitted happiness, the silence that meant you were thinking of something you would not share. You knew my impatience, my tendency to imagine disasters before they occurred, my habit of listening as if words might suddenly confess something else. In the evenings, we sat by the river. The water moved steadily, indifferent to our declarations. You once said that love should be like that, constant, without spectacle. I disagreed at the time. I wanted fireworks, proof, guarantees. You smiled and said guarantees were for people who did not trust themselves. It was there, by the river, that you told me your family was leaving town. You said it casually, as if mentioning a change in timetable. Your father had been transferred. Your mother had already begun packing. You said it might be for a few years. You said it might be forever. Forever hung between us like an object neither of us dared touch. I remember thinking that this was how lives were ruined, not by cruelty, but by logistics. There was no villain to hate, no argument to win, only a map being redrawn without consulting us. I wanted to say something decisive, something that would alter the course of events. I wanted to be older, braver, wealthier. Instead, I said nothing. You watched me struggle, then reached for my hand. Don't make this heavier than it is, you said. We are not tragic heroes. We are just people. That, perhaps, was your greatest kindness. The days after that announcement were oddly peaceful. We behaved as if nothing had changed, as if repetition might create permanence. We revisited all our usual places, not out of nostalgia but out of stubbornness. You laughed loudly. I memorized the sound, fearing that memory would prove inadequate. On your last day, the town seemed determined to appear ordinary. Shops opened on time. Children ran past us, unconcerned. The sky was offensively clear. We stood at the bus stop with your parents, who pretended not to notice us. Your mother adjusted your collar twice. Your father checked his watch. You looked at me, searching my face for something I had not yet found. I said goodbye badly. There is no other way to describe it. I spoke too quickly, promised nothing specific, avoided your eyes. You hugged me, firmly, as if correcting my mistake. Then you stepped back. Write to me, you said. I watched the bus leave, feeling both abandoned and relieved. Tragedy had passed, and yet it had not ended. Years followed. Life, unoriginal as ever, continued. I studied. I worked. I failed at some things and succeeded at others. Occasionally, I thought I had forgotten you, until some small detail, a phrase, a gesture, the smell of apples, proved otherwise. We did right. At first, often. Then less. Then only on occasions that demanded acknowledgement. Your handwriting matured. Mine remained uncertain. We spoke of safe subjects. We did not ask dangerous questions. Eventually, you returned. Quietly, without ceremony, as if you had merely gone to another room. By then, we were different people, carrying different disappointments. And yet, when we met again, I recognized you immediately, not by your face, which time had altered, but by the pause before you smiled. We were cautious, older, less inclined to dramatize. Love, the second time, arrived not like dust but like furniture, solid, necessary, unromantic in the best way. We argued about insignificant things and forgave significant ones. We watched seasons repeat themselves until repetition became comfort. Now, as I write this, 50 years have passed. You are in the next room, humming softly, the same tune you hum when you think no one is listening. The tragedy I once faced seems almost childish now, though no less sincere. I realize, finally, that it was never about losing you. It was about learning that love does not announce its ending, or its endurance. This letter, which you will read later tonight, is not an apology for my silence back then, nor a confession of regret. It is simply an acknowledgement. You were the girl who left town, possibly forever. You are the woman who stayed.